Hello everyone, I'm Louise Connoly. I'm a teacher trainer and I've also taught English to secondary school students. Now, over the years, I've often struggled with the question of how to engage my students in a meaningful and purposeful way. A way that will equip them with a range of competences, linguistic of course, but also non-linguistic. For example, the ability to think critically or creatively. Competences that they can apply both inside and outside the class. Sounds like a tall order? With 25 or more students, is that possible? Now, I'm not saying it isn't a challenge. It is. But I do think that a possible way forward is to rethink the way we approach units of study and their component lessons. Let's look at units of study not as a collection of lessons with tasks and activities whose focus is to develop receptive and productive linguistic competences, listening, reading, speaking and writing, lists of vocabulary and language structures or grammar, but rather as a process of discovery and investigation, during which they are exposed to different relevant topics and input through a variety of media, where they develop and apply a range of competences in order to achieve a real-life task or goal. In this scenario, I do think that we will have a better chance to involve students and create a more cohesive and inclusive classroom environment. And we will better equip our students for the future. I want my students not to memorize lists of vocabulary and grammar structures, but to encourage them to apply the language, to use the language in order to apply their knowledge and skills to real-life tasks and situations. The first idea I would like to put to you is this: using learning situations as the point of departure. Why not present your students with a collaborative project at the beginning of the unit of work? In this way, students have a clear objective to work towards, and they know exactly from the very beginning what's expected of them. The project provides the perfect framework in which students are exposed to a variety of input, content, topics, linguistic and non-linguistic competences development over a number of lessons. Rather than seeing the units of study as a collection of lessons, we now see it as a learning journey, at the end of which students will be able to apply all that they have learned to complete the collaborative project. For this way of working to be effective, to be engaging and motivating for students, it is important to present them with projects on a broad range of topics over the units of study. Here are some examples of projects that will captivate students' attention. In answer to the question, "What's your idea of a good holiday?" students create a 3-day holiday plan for themselves and their friends. How can we improve our environment? Students conduct a green audit of their school and make proposals for change. How do we know if news is reliable? Students assess the reliability of sources when researching a news story, and they present it in 2 different ways. How can music bring people together? Students give a presentation about a singer or band that they think brings people together. These are topics that will resonate with students, and the projects are collaborative so that the strengths, competence and abilities of different students can enhance the final outcome and help achieve a more cohesive classroom environment. And of course, Projects, as we all know, lend themselves perfectly to evaluating students' progress through formative assessment. We will talk about that a little later. But before that, you will have noticed that all of the project examples I have shown you are framed as a question. And here I would like to introduce the second key idea to the successful learning journey we want our students to go on: the driving question. What do I mean by this? Well, the driving question, a what do you think kind of question, is what guides and drives the learning towards the completion of the final collaborative task, the project. The purpose of this question is twofold. On the one hand, it serves to hook students' attention to the topic and find out their initial thoughts, what they know already, and on the other, to drive and guide learning as we explore the topic together in upcoming lessons. Here you'll see several examples of driving questions. Once we've established the driving question, found out students' initial thoughts, what they already know, we will want to explore the topic in more depth, from different angles and with different types of input, in a way that is progressive and manageable. We will want to help students to gather their ideas by exposing them to a variety of input that breaks down the topic and presents them with ideas through different media: articles, radio programs, podcasts, videos, while at the same time develop their linguistic competences: reading, listening, speaking, writing. Expose them to relevant language, vocabulary and grammar structures, and non-linguistic competences such as critical or creative thinking. This approach leads me now to the final point I would like to share with you. What I mentioned earlier: formative assessment. With this reimagined way of looking at units of study and their lessons, students' progress and achievement can be tracked both throughout the unit of study and during the project at the end of the unit of study. Assessment here is not of learning, it's for learning. Assessment gives important feedback on where students are at and points them in the direction of the next steps to take towards improvement. On the one hand, students can track their progress through the unit by identifying their ability in a range of competences: listening and reading, speaking and writing, interaction, mediation, plurilingual and intercultural competence, by identifying concretely what they can do in these areas, as you will see in the examples here. And on the other hand, students can assess their work on each part of the project, as you can see here in these examples. The Competence Evaluation Tracker is unique in that it encourages students to take an active part in their learning. There is so much to say on this subject. I'd love to show you more examples of this unique way of teaching and learning. But I think now that you'd probably rather have a look yourself, wouldn't you? So, if you want to find out more about this innovative approach, why not have a look at Macmillan Education's secondary course, Influence Today, Your Influence Today. Enjoy the journey.